The next is a compiler. Now, this is a program that translates instructions written in a high-level language into an equivalent machine language. So what we have written here is a high-level language. If you look at the history of computer programming, you will realize that we've had different versions of computer programming, right from the assembler programs to program languages like Pascal, Fortran, and all that. If you read about the history of computer programming, you come about that. But this generation, we have high-level language such as C++. We may have other ones like Java. There are others. So these programs that we write using these languages, a compiler compiles it or translates it into an equivalent machine language. And this is actually really dependent on the operating system that you'll be using. So when it translates it to fit that platform for that computer in the machine language. All right. The next one I like to talk about is source code or source program. Now, source program is the program that we have written in our IDE or the integrated development environment. The code that we just wrote here to print out hello world, this is what we refer to as the source program. If you have an executable file or version of a program and you install, that is not the source. It's actually a compiled version of the source program. If you have an access to a source program, then you'll be able to have the program that the developers wrote, so that you'll be able to modify or add more code or remove. So that is what we refer to as source code. So this, what we have typed here, is our source code. All right. We also have what we call preprocessor. And a preprocessor, these are statements, okay? These are statements that are processed by a program called preprocessor. Now, these preprocessors, they are actually directives that tells the computer ahead of time what kind of file it has to include in the program that you have written. So for you to be able to identify a preprocessor, they start with #include. Okay, #include. This #include tells it that it should go into this file. Okay, and if you right click and go to navigate, go to declaration or definition, you realize that it has opened cstdlib. This is a library that contains predefined codes that were written, which is part of the whole C++ language. Okay, so you are including, in other words, you are including that file to make it part of your program so that you'll be able to use certain predefined statements that have been written to be able to use them in your code, so you don't rewrite the entire program. So that is an example of a preprocessor. Now, this preprocessors, they process processor directives, or they include the files, and then as part of your program that you write. We also have what we call object program. Okay, now an object program, when your program is compiled, whatever you are going to get before it's loaded into the memory is an object. Okay, we will talk about it in a more deeper sense. It's an object which the linker links these preprocessors and attach them to your object before executing it. We'll see a tree which explains how C++ code is executed. We also have library, linker, and then loader. Now, a library is a pre-written code that comes with a programming language. Okay, so when you look at this #include statement saying cstdlib, this #include is a preprocessor directive that is telling our object program. Okay, so if this code that we've written here is translated into machine language, that is what we can refer to as an object program. So think of the library that we are including here. If you right click on it and then you go to navigate and then you go to declaration or definition, you have a bunch of files here. Similarly, you can check the IO stream that we have included. If you go to, you will see what has been written inside, and you have other #include within that file too. So these are actually pre-written code that comes as part of the C++ language, and these are actually stored in an area where it is referred to as the library. We also have linker. Now, the linker is a program that combines the object program with other programs in the library and is used in the program to create the executable code. So just like I said earlier on, when this code is compiled into equivalent machine language, we have an object program. And that object program is linked to these libraries that we have included before it is loaded into the computer's memory to be executed. That is a function of a linker. And the last one is a loader. Now, this is a program that loads an executable program into main memory. Remember, the libraries are predefined or pre-written codes that or statement. Let me just say computer predefined codes that comes with the C++ language and stored in a library. And the linker here links our object program, which is the compiled or translated equivalent machine language, to the library. The loader then loads this executable program into the main memory for it to be executed. Now, let's have a clear picture of this. Let's refer to this diagram. What we did in our little hello world program, the first thing we did was we have a program to write, which is a C++ program. We open our editor, which was step 1. We open our editor, which was step 1. And then we typed in our code. This is our code. We typed in our code inside this editor. This is an editor. We are able to edit our code in it. Now, we included some preprocessors, which is here, line 14 to line 15. These are the line numbers, line 14 to line 15. And then what happens if there is any error? If there is any error, that is when we executed the program. If there is any error, the compiler will tell us that there is syntax error, and because of that, we'll need to correct the error by going back to the editor. So for instance, if let's say we forgot to bring this semicolon, which terminates a line of a statement, and then we click, we get an error. So we will hit syntax error, and therefore we have to go back to the editor and then correct the program. We'll look at how you learn how to debug computer errors. Debugging is actually removing bugs in the program. So when you correct, then the program can run. So after we compile, the linker looks for the libraries that we included as CSTD library and then IIO string to link it to the object. After compiling, remember we'll get an object program. That's equivalent machine language. And then link it to our object. And then the loader at step 5, loads it into memory, and then step 6, it gets executed. So this is the program execution cycle for a C++